Dzień dobry, buongiorno, good day, mates. Aloha, and welcome to our live coverage here on Archery TV. Well, the indoor tour kicked off on the Moroccan carpets in Marrakesh, marking the second time a World Cup event has been held on the African continent. The second stop, Bangkok, Thailand. Then it was off to Nimes, where the French organizing committee staged another great show. Now we're down to the best of the best, going arrow to arrow, bow to bow, battling it out in a city that's seen its share of title bouts. So welcome to Vegas and the crown jewel of the Indoor World Cup Tour, not to mention the last major indoor competition before everyone heads outside. Along with the pride of Canada, Hugh McDonald, I'm Carl Archie, and we welcome you to the South Point Hotel and Casino, where our competitors will be shooting at a tri-spot 40-centimeter target from 18 meters away. And Hugh, we should set the stage and tell people that we're joining the competition now as we get set for the semifinal round.
Indeed, yeah. We are currently watching the last set on the recurve side, the last end on the compound side of the quarterfinals. It's really tense in a couple of the matches. It's very, very close. The match between Rick van der Ven and Ojin Hyek are, I believe they're tied. Yep, they are going to have a shoot-off, which is fantastic. I love the shoot. Anybody who's heard me talk about these things already knows. There's also a really tight match between of the United States and Sim Yi-ji of Korea. Mike Schlosser has shot a perfect 150, it looks like, against his opponent, Jesse Broadwater. So they're holding their own. They'll have a shoot-off as well. And I think most of the rest of the matches will be sorted. So we will have some excitement to get going before we get into our marquee matches, which are going to be on the center stage.
And to bring everybody up to speed, we've basically had an 8-ring circus going on here tonight. We started off with 64 archers spread out across this field of play here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. We had 8 matches going on. Well, we had 16 archers in each of the 4 respective divisions, so
correct.
64 altogether. Now we're kind of whittling down that field as we get ready for the semifinals. So it's really going to start to get interesting now as we say hello to everybody who's out there watching, and glad to have you with us. This is Hugh McDonald right here. I am Carl Archie, and we're so glad here on, well, it could be Saturday night, could be Sunday morning, depending upon where you might happen to be in the world.
Yes, indeed. For us, it is Saturday night. Enjoying the show. It's quite a packed crowd here live, so that's going to create a whole lot of ambiance. The archers are going to be hearing screaming, cheering, all that sort of idea. Of course, the crowd is going to be in favor of the U.S.
And we are getting ready for a shoot-off right now.
On targets 130, 130, Rick van der Ven and Ojin Hyek, and Mike Schlosser versus Jesse Broadwater. And those appear to be the only 2 shoot-offs. Are there more?
See, they can't even stay in their seats here at the South Casino. They're on their feet. They're enjoying themselves as we get set. Ojin Hyek scoring 29 points, then 30 points in the second set, 30 points in the third set, 29 points in the fourth set, came back with 30 in the fifth set. But Rick van der Ven really picking up his game with a pair of 30s in his final 2 sets to force the shoot-off.
There are actually 2 more shoot-offs that I didn't mention, didn't know about. The scores weren't popping up quite quick enough for us. Stephen Hansen versus Martin Damsbo. They're tied at 146. And Chance Bobov is going up against Peter Elzinga with 149s apiece. So there are 3 matches in the compound men's quarterfinal to decide who's going on to the semifinals. There's 1 match in the recurve men. And is there one more?
That's a good look at Mike Schlosser a moment ago. You saw him. There's Braden Galantine, has already been eliminated. High-fiving with Sherry Gales from Australia.
He's a good sport always.
Yes, Braden's had a good indoor season. One in Marrakesh. Had a couple of wins on the indoor circuit this past winter. But when you get to Las Vegas, all bets are off.
Or all bets are on.
Or on, yeah. Wish to look at that.
I have yet to manage to find where they have the odds on this particular event.
I don't know how you would handicap something like this.
That's interesting. I'm sure there's somebody on it.
Somebody somewhere. There's Amy Folkart in our cameras.
On Juan Carlos, the
There's
famous Juan Carlos Holgado.
Who is running this show. And it is an 8-ring circus down here in Las Vegas. But what a great event here at the Vegas Shoot.
All right, so this is Mike Schlosser.
who shot a 600 2 weeks ago in Nîmes.
To set the final world record. The
So Mike
announcement
Schlosser is
saying
the winner.
Yep.
So they put the glasses on it, and Mike Schlosser, who won here last year, moves on to the semifinals.
And that's tough to do. To repeat in this, it's very, very tough to do.
It's tough to beat Jesse Broadwater, who came over, just congratulated Mike Schlosser.
Now that's interesting because right now the result is unofficial, but they probably have good enough glass down there on the field that they know for certain enough.
And bring everybody up to speed on this, Hugh McDonald. What are we shooting? What's the distance? And tell us about the targets.
All right, the distance we're shooting today is 18 meters. There are differences between the compound target and the recurve target. Right there's the compound target. You can see when he moves out of the way.
Mike Schlosser, that is.
Yes, indeed. That little circle right in the center, that's about the size of a penny, and he's absolutely. That's a gorgeous shot. That definitely. So that, in archery terms, that's inside out, which means that he didn't touch the line on the inside. Then the rest of the gold outside the penny side circle is 9 for compound. And then you get into the red rings, which we're hoping none of the compounds will need, but there's an 8 and a 7 ring, and the blue ring is, in fact, 6 points. There are the same rings, more or less, on the recurve target. The only difference is that the 10 ring is somewhat larger. I believe it's the compound 10 ring is 2 centimeters across, and the recurve 10 ring is 4 centimeters across. And that's just to recognize the differences between the equipment categories. The compound have the magnifying scope, the back sight called a peep sight, the release aid, so they're not releasing with their fingers. It's a much cleaner style of release, which means that the arrow starts out needing a lot less correction and makes the bow itself far more precise.
Either way you look at it, Hugh, very slim margin for error.
Absolutely. It's completely equal competition within the categories, and the scores are spectacular. There's been a number of just perfect sets on the recurve side, 30, 30, 30, 30. Some of them have shot 430s consecutive, finishing with a 29 to win. On the compound side, they've been shooting clean, 150 scores, just fantastic shooting, and it's probably only going to get better because these guys get good as the pressure gets on.
The Korean contingent obviously going to be a major factor as we look at the results here in the quarterfinals for the recurve men. Gi Dong-jung defeated Brady Ellison. Kim Jae-yong defeated Ji-won from Korea. Min Byung-yeon defeats Pierre Plion from France. And it's Rick Vanderven, though, with the win
over Oh
Jin-yuk.
That's a big win.
In a shoot-off.
Yep.
In the tiebreaker. Won the tiebreaker 10-9. So O is out. Rick Vanderven moves on with 3 other Koreans. Then on the women's side, Kim Min-jung defeats her countryman 6-0. Then it's Lenola
Pritchard.
330s. Yes, 330s, 3 consecutive 30s. You can't argue with that very much.
No, she did her job right. That's a solid win right there.
And then Lenola Pritchard, who's had 2 wins. Lenola Pritchard picking up a win in the 1/8 round and then winning 6-2 over Laura Bennett Shelton of the United States here in the quarterfinals. Katuna Lorg, though, goes down.
She did. Took it to the full 5 sets, but didn't manage to pull it out in the last set. She lost to a 30 in the last set. If she managed to shoot a 30 in the last set, we would have had a shoot-off in the women's category as well, which would. Unfortunately, Sim was just a little bit stronger tonight, and that's how it goes.
Sim Yee-jae from Korea winning that match. And then Berenger Shu, who's had 1 gold medal on the Indoor World Cup circuit this season, falls here in the quarterfinals to another Korean, Jo Sung-hyun, 6-2 in that match. That's how it shapes up after the first 2 rounds. Into the semifinals we go. And then in the compound competition, it's Mike Schlosser in the tiebreaker. You just saw him win that and defeat Jesse Broadwater. Rio Wild falls to the birthday boy, Pierre-Julien Deloche, 150 to 146. Stefan Hansen and Martin Damsbo in a...
Indeed, they dropped a few more points than you might be expected of these guys. They're really solid shooters, so to miss 4 10s out of 15 shots, that's a little remarkable. You wouldn't expect them to miss more than about 2. But Stefan Hansen shot a great shoot-off arrow and defeated Martin Demsbo, who's had a bit of a weaker week than he would probably like so far in Vegas.
And then it was Peter Elzinga in a tiebreaker with Chance Bobeuf of the United States. They both shoot at 10, but Peters was just a little bit better.
Indeed. Yeah, so they would have had to get the calipers out on that, no doubt, and just take a look.
Then on the women's side, some great matches over there. Crystal Gavin by 1 point over Helga Kolbrun Magnusdottir from Iceland. Then it was Lexi Keller of the United States knocking off Toya Chernay 146 to 144. Christy Collin falls to Erika Jones. Erika moving on as she defeats her countryman 146 to 142. And then it's Dahlia Crook of the United States over the Australian archer Sherry Gale 145 to 142.
On the compound women's side, so far it looks like it's Erika Jones' day to lose. She was rock solid in the 1/8. She shot a 149. Absolute class of the field in that round. 146 ties the high in this round. She's having a great evening. She looks like the woman to watch in compound women.
She had a great night last night, as did Pierre-Julien Deloche. Those two were named Athletes of the Year in their respective categories.
Excellent.
Through the voting of the fans, as well as an expert panel of peers who also weighed in on the decision. And so it was a big night here last night as we had the first ever gala for World Archery here in Las Vegas. A great event, came off very well. And so it was a nice night for Erika. She picked up a trophy there for being the Athlete of the Year in women's compound, and Pierre-Julien Deloche picking up the trophy for the Male Athlete of the Year in men's compound.
Two very deserving athletes, of course, and our marquee match for the next round, for the semi-round, is going to be PJ Deloche against our new world record holder, Mike Schlosser.
Oh, I love it. I love how it's shaping up here, and so does this crowd here at South Point Hotel and Casino on the south end of the Strip here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, where we've had some tremendous archery over the last couple of days. In fact, this is one of the most unique events in the world. There's close to 3,000 archers who have been in this hotel for the last 2 or 3 days. Maybe one of the safest places you could be on the planet. Everybody's walking around with their bows and their arrows, but you go from the amateurs all the way up to the greatest in the world, all rubbing elbows together, some of them getting to step up to the shooting line and shoot against some of the best in the business.
Well, and you also go from the very, very young to the very, very experienced, shall we say.
I like how you put that,
right,
as you look at me.
I'm not sure how much experience you have in archery.
Just in life.
Compared to some of the archers who are here, there's Ron Borman, who's been shooting, I have no idea how long, but he's an absolute legend. Ed Eliason is here. I've seen Tim Strickland walking around. There's a few other really old hats. No offense in that term at all.
That's all right, none taken, I'm sure. I'll speak for them.
But just oodles of experience. People I don't know who I probably should and should really respect and know and don't, which is disappointing from my perspective. I just I keep meeting new ones. Another one of the great, absolute best features of this particular tournament is because the tournament's held in the South Point Hotel itself, and there's enough room, everybody stays here, more or less, which means that everywhere you go, you're bumping into friends.
Oh, absolutely.
From the athlete's perspective, it's tremendous.
And there's the big trade show that's going on right here inside the arena as well. So you've got your trade show, you've got this great competition that's going on.
Early season, you get to see the new equipment that's coming out. You get to drool over it and buy it if you have the money. It's a great experience.
What did you see that you like?
What's
on the Christmas wish list?
I'm seriously looking at the Shibuya Ultima sights for the recurve. That's what I've got my eyes on right now.
Okay, Hugh McDonald, and let's see, your birthday is when?
Not for quite some time.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll keep that in the back of our minds as the crowd trains the binoculars on the field here, as we start to move in towards more of the center of the field of battle here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. It is the World Cup final, Indoor World Cup final. And there's Mike Schlosser on the right and Pierre-Julien Deloche on the left. So Mike Schlosser deep in thought right now, or maybe just trying to clear his head. Which is it?
I suspect he's just trying to stay loose, trying probably not to focus on too much right now. I recently heard that a genius can only focus on something for 18 seconds. So the rest of us mere mortals need to be able to break our focus so that we can, when we're trying to hit that 10 ring, we can focus for the few seconds that we have available to us, get that arrow shot, let our focus break, let our mind wander a little bit, set up for the next shot, and be ready to focus again.
Mike Schlosser certainly seems focused. He was focused 2 weeks ago in Nîmes, where he shot that perfect score of 600. Has never been done before.
Well, and the question is, where do you go from here? He holds the last world record indoors. There can be no more.
Right now, he'd just like to get that win here in Las Vegas, where he had so much success a year ago. Pierre-Julien Deloche.
And there will be another 7 other concurrent matches. We will try to keep you up to date on what's going on in those matches as well.
But we'll focus on this one right now, as Deloche, who finished second and got the silver medal in Lausanne last fall at the Outdoor World Cup final, steps up to the shooting line along with Mike Schlosser.
Ooh, that was quite the follow through. But the arrows are gone fast.
Pierre taking his time.
That was a much better shot. The first one almost looked like it surprised him a little bit. But if it surprises you and it's in the 10 ring, that's a good surprise.
Schlosser hoping to remain clean here in the first end.
And he does.
Waiting for the scores to be updated on Pierre-Julien, who has gone full-time now in archery, devoting full time and attention to it.
Very nice.
Which is his passion. I spoke with PJ last night at the banquet. He's very happy and content right now to focus 100% of his time and efforts and energy on the sport.
The scorers have called that arrow a 10, even though there was some debate in the arena, and that's a solid 10 there. So the archers have 2 minutes to shoot these 3 arrows. Mike Schlosser clearly has a much more rapid rhythm. Works for him. Pierre-Julien is perhaps a little bit more deliberate, a little bit slower. It works for him. Different rhythms will work for different people. Different archers will hold for different lengths of time. You have to, when you're determining your shot, you have to determine what works for you and work with that. If you try to rush your shot, you're going to get mayhem. If you try to take too long and it's not your style, you'll fall out of the shot and it won't go where you want it.
All individual preference.
Within the 2-minute allotment. So there's a lot to be. A lot of the coaches would say a slightly quicker rhythm is in a lot of ways better. It deals better with wind, which we don't have indoors. It gives you a little bit more of a chance, if something goes wrong, to have a second crack at a shot. That sort of idea. If you have to have a letdown, it gives you just a little bit more of a buffer for error. But if you're just shooting 10s on the first try every time, take all the time you want.
And Pierre-Julien Deloche taking up most of those 2 minutes. Mike Schlosser with the quicker trigger finger. But both of them through that first end cleanly, tied up at 30 all. The other match going on right now in men's compound, Peter Ellezinga and Stefan Hansen from Denmark.
That's actually quite remarkable. In the compound men, there isn't a single American remaining.
Well, on the women's side, it's an all-American affair right now.
And there you are.
The 4 archers in the women's compound in the semifinals, all from the United States of America. Of course, in the recurve competition, 3 Korean men, along with Rick van der Ven from the Netherlands.
As it currently stands, Rick has a 2-point lead in the set play.
And in recurve women, 3 Koreans and Lenola Pritchard from the United States.
That's a lot of 30s put up by the Koreans there. In the first match on the recurve side, it's Ji versus Kim. They both shot 30. In the second match, Min shot a 28 to Rick van der Ven's. So Rick gets those 2 points. That will be an interesting match to watch.
And in women's recurve, Kim with a score of 30, leading Lenola Pritchard, who scored 29. So that match is at 2-0 right now, as is the other match between the 2 Korean women. And we get set for the second end now. Here in men's compound. And Deloche drills another one.
So if we get another look at Mike Schlosser's target, you may notice that the high hole on his third target, the one near the bottom,
yes,
it has been sort of filled in. That's a common technique because these compound guys with their magnifying scopes, they can see that hole so clearly. The eye is attracted to that hole, and in Mike Schlosser's view, that hole was a little bit too far outside the center of the 10 ring. He didn't want to be looking at that while he was aiming. Pierre-Julien Deloche did not fill in his, and you'll notice he shot a second low 10 on that second spot.
It's a 9 on his second shot.
So there's that filled in hole.
Yes.
I bet he'll be filling in that low one too.
Now Schlosser has yet to miss on his first 6 shots. Pierre, now they put an asterisk up. Make
it looked
the
a long
official
way
call.
out. I think it's probably a 9. 9 stars the right call unofficially, but it looked a long way out. These are big arrows. It's a little bit of a different trick to figure out where those arrows are. That one.
No doubt about that one. But Pierre thinking about that second shot of this second end. And in this competition, just one arrow off just a little bit.
That can be the difference.
That could be the difference. Could sway the way this match goes. Mike Schlosser, calm, cool, collected, which is what you would expect out of a young man. Accomplished what he has at such an early stage of his career and at such an early age. Great shooter, though, from the Netherlands.
A country that produces excellent shooters.
Oh, one after another. One after another. Peter Elzinga's out there right now.
As is Rick van der Ven.
Yes.
Well, PJ's having a really good look at that. He wants it to be a 10.
He's wishing, trying to will it into that 10 ring, but it may not be the case.
Then we've got a judge on it. He's taking a look. So it's close enough. Of course, Mike is not going to just accept an arrow that close. He's going to get the judge to call it. There has been a definitive walked away. We're too far away to hear what he said, but it has been resolved.
So the discussion continues, and now recording of the scores, and we'll try to get you updated on the other ones. That does appear to be...
That looks out to me from here. That's not the world's best camera angle to be able to call that. He's taking another good look.
Pierre trying to find any way possible.
Well, it's too late. He's touched the target face.
Yeah.
Well, and he's already had a judge call. In the World Archery system, you get one judge call. That's the answer. If you bring in the judge, whatever he says is the final answer. You don't get to object. You don't get a second call. And especially once you touch the target paper, everything's invalid.
You've been out there in this situation on many occasions. After something like that happens, how do you put it out of your mind? Because he has to put it out of his mind.
Well, he got the 10. So
he got the 10? Okay. So he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yep. So he doesn't have to put that out of his mind.
That might be his birthday gift right there.
There you go.
That's the birthday present that came for Pierre-Julien Deloche. It looked to ours, from our standpoint, our viewpoint, as though that might be out, but those who had a better look at it.
Closer and with a magnifying glass. It's amazing the difference that you can see with a magnifying glass. I've done it a couple of times where I've been looking at an arrow, and with the naked eye, I would say it was out all day long. But you put a glass on, and you can see clearly in. It's remarkable the difference.
So we're tied at 60 heading to the third end right now.
Another 10. I am surprised he's not shading in those low holes. He's creating a little bit of a black hole. And again, I did call it. Mike Schlosser has filled in that low 10-9 as well. So he really wants to punch a dead spider right through the center of that bottom target. He doesn't want any distractions, bringing his eyes away from the center of the target. There we go. That's a much better second shot.
Meanwhile, in the other men's semifinal compound match, it was Stefan Hansen leading by 1 over Peter Alzinga, 59-58, heading into the third end.
Lexi Keller's taking a clean round and a 1-point lead over Krista Galvin. And Erika Jones, 58-55 over Dahlia Crook. Still coming on nice and strong.
And we'll update you on the recurve after this end is over for Pierre-Julien Deloche, as well as Mike Schlosser.
Gets a 10. Shot a hole he's already hit. I love doing that.
Sweet shot. Beautifully done by Pierre-Julien Deloche.
That's interesting. The running score on PJ Deloche's scoreboard is 89.
Meanwhile, Mike Schlosser still perfect.
Well, theoretically, PJ is also perfect. So that's why I'm a little confused by the scoreboard there.
I have to wonder if there's still some dispute about that second arrow on the second end.
I'm not sure what's going on. The online score says that it was 10-10-10. There's a technological glitch that has happened somewhere, and I'm not sure which way is correct.
So we're a little bit in the dark right now as to whether this match is tied or whether Schlosser has a 1-point lead, and it all traces back to that second arrow of the second end for Pierre-Julien Deloche, which was heavily scrutinized.
The judge took a good look at it, but the judges are excellent. World Archery has done a lot of great work to put together quality judges. They only pass the judges who have the credentials, and that creates a very, very fair competition across the board for all of the athletes.
Right now, updating in the recurve, Rick Vanderven has fallen behind 4-2 after he shoots a 29. Min Byung-yeon shoots a 30 and forges ahead in that match, 4-2. Meanwhile, Kim Jae-yong apparently headed against his teammate, or countryman, I should say. They're not necessarily teammates here in Las Vegas.
Well, and he's clean. He's shot 30-30-30. That's the way to do it. That's the way to keep your fate in your hands. If he shoots another 30, there's nothing that G can do.
On the women's side, Lenola Pritchard trailing 5-1 now as Kim Min-jung has gone up 5-1 in that match. And the other two Korean archers, Sim Yi-jae and Jo Sung-yeon, are tied up at 3-all.
Both with 2 30s and a 29.
So the battles go on.
That is excellent shooting on the recurve side across the board.
And right now we are waiting for the scoreboards to be updated here at the South Point Hotel and Casino.
The flip cards between Peter Elzinga and Stephen Hansen is what we're waiting for there. It looks like Stephen Hansen's dropped another point, so if Peter Elzinga was clean, then we have a tied match over on our second compound match.
And it would be tied at 88 all,
yes,
if that's the case.
Which I don't think it is. I think Peter Elzinga dropped one. I think he's got 87. And they're replacing his target face.
Uh-huh.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get behind your favorite shooter.
88-87. Crystal Galvin has matched up to Lexi Keller. It's now 88-88 on the women's compound side there. And Erika Jones has maintained a 4-point lead now over Dahlia Crook, 87-83.
Crystal has had a very good winter indoors.
And it's an all-USA women's compound final shaking up here in.
So right now, here we go. It is a 1-point lead for Mike Schlosser, 90-89. After the first 3 ends, the first 9 arrows.
So that, in some sense, adds a little bit of pressure to Mike, because on top of the slight need to continue to, all he does is hit 10s all day long. In the first 2 days of the Vegas shoot, he's shot 659x, so he actually missed one of those 10s once. Here he has 15 to do.
It does not happen very often.
It doesn't.
In fact, it's rare.
But PJ needs it to happen in order to have a chance.
And then he's going to take care of his own business.
Yeah, PJ needs to stay clean from here on out, and he needs a little help from Mike.
Another 10 for Schlosser is
not getting the help he was hoping for.
No, Deloche trying to stay within himself.
He's shooting excellent. The side from 18 meters, basically put a penny at the end of your driveway. That's sort of what you're looking at. Depending, a standard suburban driveway. I'm not talking it's 150 yards long. A standard suburban driveway is about 18 meters. And you put a penny, sort of balance it on the curb at the end. That's what these guys are hitting time after time.
Right now, Mike Schlosser has a hold on this match. And Pierre trying to put this one in the middle of that target to try to stay within one. Heading down the stretch, and he's outside in the 9 ring.
Ooh, that's a solid 9, and that's probably the game right there. 2 points to play with. That doesn't sound like much, but that's a pretty big breath of relief from the perspective of Mike Schlosser. I think Lenola Pritchard is now out, just sort of looking at her target.
So Mike Schlosser in the driver's seat right now as he goes down to retrieve. Along with Pierre-Julien Deloche. But Schlosser refusing to miss. And Pierre barely off on his 5th shot of the match. And then here in the 4th end, missing clearly, landing in the 9 ring, and now trailing by 2.
Yeah, there's no doubt about the second 9 whatsoever.
So if you could get a bet down now on Mike Schlosser, you would take that?
It would be fairly safe, I would say.
I think it would be a safe bet. But you never know. You never know.
Why you shoot the arrows.
Pierre wearing the lenses out here. Obviously, a lot of archers have gone to those. Talk about that a little bit, Hugh. The advantages?
So what they're saying is that it sort of levels out the lighting. I'm a little surprised. I've talked to a few archers about them, because a few of the archers who I know are sponsored by Pilla aren't wearing them, and it's because the lighting in here is a little bit dim. So any filter, any lens is going to block out a little bit of light here and there. So I guess you have to have really, really good dim light vision in order to be wearing the lenses, but they cut glare, they're polarized, they really brighten up the gold, they give it better definition so you really can get a good look at what you're aiming at.
The vision is much sharper, right? Theoretically.
Yeah, it helps you define the target. It helps you focus on the target face itself. It helps bring that to life more than just the flat paper that you and I see.
So the athlete of the year in men's compound in a little bit of a conundrum right now, down with only 3 arrows left to shoot. So basically what's going to have to happen here is Mike Schlosser is going to have to miss on 2 of these next 3 arrows.
Miss the 10. If he misses altogether, it's
right, miss just the 10.
Yes.
If he shoots 2 9s,
or if he really messes up and shoots an 8, it's game on. The recurve matches, there's only one still going on. That's between the 2 Korean women. And that's a 3-5 match. Here we go in the last match, last end here for the compound men.
Right down the middle.
Solid 10. So as per usual, the recurves are using a set play elimination, and the compounds are using a cumulative score elimination round. So that is why 3 out of the 4 recurve matches are done, and there's still all 4 compound matches going.
Right. Then they'll go the full 5 in compound, whereas in recurve it could be over in 3.
Correct.
Zeroing in on Pierre-Julien Deloche as he zeroes in.
There it is.
It's
That's
over.
3 10s. That's a perfect 150 for Mike Schlosser. Nice shooting.
Is that why they call him Mr. Perfect?
He is stealing that nickname. That used to be Rio Wild's nickname, but he got Mr. Perfect for shooting the 600.
It's interesting, ironic, because he did lose to Rio at one of the earlier stages here on the Indoor World Cup circuit. Pierre on with 3 straight 10s, but he will end up coming up 2 points short. Comes over and congratulates Mike Schlosser, who will move on. And Pierre-Julien Deloche done for the night.
No, he isn't. He's in the bronze
that's
medal
right.
match.
You're right. You're right.
No, this was just the semis, so PJ's got another match. He'll be back on screen soon enough. Actually, he won't be. We were going to be covering the bronze medal match. But PJ will be involved in the bronze medal match up against Peter.
Mike Schlosser, very composed. There's a lot of work still left to be done here in Las Vegas, where he came away winner last year. Comes down to survey his work, and a job well done by the young man from the Netherlands.
Good enough for the victory. Erika Jones will shoot for gold.
So Erika Jones is going to be shooting for gold, we'll now see.
Which is not a terribly huge surprise. She's been shooting very, very well all day long.
Schlosser won his 1/8 round match by 2 points, wins this semifinal match by 2 points.
And he won his quarterfinal in a shootout.
So under pressure, he does not fold. Puts his John Hancock
It appears
on the
that
score sheet.
Jo Seung Hyun has won the match there. So there are no shoot-offs in this round. All the medal matches have now been decided.
And the show goes on here at the Vegas Shoot, here in the United States of America. Las Vegas, the site of so many great sporting events over the years, and now we can include the Vegas Shoot. Of course, the Vegas Shoot's been going on for quite some time down here.
I say it's not about now. It's 30, maybe almost 40 years now.
Yeah.
It's moved from hotel to hotel for sure. It was in the Riviera for a long time.
In fact, it's grown so much now, Hugh, they may have to actually think about trying to find ways to expand here at the South Point or look for an even bigger venue.
There are still some spaces that aren't being used. There's another, where we are right now is in one of the arenas for some of the horse events that happen often here as well. There's another 2 arenas currently being used as a practice range. It's possible that one of those, there's a second one that isn't being used at all. So one of the tricks is all of these targets have to come in. What I heard this week was from Yankton, South Dakota. Which means that if they're going to use another whole range, they're going to need to bring in another 30 or so target butts, and these things are not light. They're not small, and they're not light.
And of course, we haven't even talked about the ballrooms, which have been crowded all week long.
And 20 some odd targets, 120 targets up in the ballrooms, each of which is containing 4 people per flight per session. And there's a 7 o'clock, a 10 o'clock, a 1 o'clock, and a 4 o'clock shooting session. So they're
all jam-packed.
Absolutely packed. There's youth, there's seniors. That's how they're getting the 3,000 people here. What I'm hearing is that a lot of the growth is in the youth archers, which is fantastic to hear about. It's great that they're bringing in new blood.
And a lot of that is with the younger women who have been really encouraged. And I think Hollywood will all acknowledge that, has had a big hand in that with the movies that have come out. Obviously, Hunger Games, we've talked about that, The Hobbit, other television shows, movies, things like that. A lot of young women getting into the sport, and we're seeing it here in Las Vegas.
Yep, there's good representation and quality shooting across the board. Juniors to seniors to everybody else.
And they come in from all over the country. They come in from all over the world for this festival.
It's quite frightening how good some of these youth are. I'm glad they're staying in youth categories for right now.
You don't have to worry about them for a few years.
Just yet, not yet.
I'm Carl Archie, that's Hugh McDonald, and we're glad to have you with us here on World Archery TV as we bring you live coverage of the Vegas shoot, and we get set for women's compound now.
This will be Dahlia Crook versus Lexi Keller. Women's medal match.
And we're about 2 minutes away from the start.
So the breakdown of the bronze medal matches are Ji Don Hyun versus Rick Vanderven, Lenola Pritchard versus Sim Yi Ji, PJ Deloche versus Peter Elzinga, Lexi Keller versus Dahlia Crook.
So in men's recurve, it's the Netherlands and Korea. In women's recurve, it will be Pritchard of the United States and Sim from Korea. Deloche and Elzinga going for the bronze. And as Hugh just mentioned, it'll be Lexi Keller and Dahlia Crook, both of the United States, battling for the bronze medal in the women's compound.
And this young lady here is Dahlia Crook. Represented herself very, very well today. Lexi Keller is a name known on the circuit, and she will be a good contender. This will be a good match. Excellent shooters, both representing Matthews, it appears.
One last gulp of water for Lexi. And it's Lexi Keller on target 1, Dahlia Crook on target number 2. Lexi on the right as you look at your screen. And there's Dahlia. You got to keep them under control.
It's a big deal to be in front of this huge... Many of these archers... So one of the interesting things is this is a crowd full of archers. Everybody
peers
here knows exactly what's going on, which is that makes it that much harder. If you have a crowd of spectators, they may or may not know when you've made a mistake or what you've done is great. So it works either way. If you shoot a spectacular shot and that appears up on the Jumbotron and the crowd cheers for you, you get to say, yeah, that was me. But if you make a mistake like PJ's last 9, the whole crowd will send up a murmur. Everybody knows that you just dumped a 9 and you shouldn't have.
But the great competitors embrace these moments.
Indeed.
Let's see who embraces the moment here in this women's compound bronze medal match.
Leading out with a 10. Nice start. 10 for both of them, yes. They make that draw. Experienced compound shooters who are shooting the proper amount of bow weight, that's a solid 9 from Lexi. Experienced, competent, that's an even bigger 9. Compound shooters draw their bow. It's a nice, smooth draw, controlled, level at the target. That's in.
Close.
That's in. That's got it.
That's touching, isn't it?
Yep. It's a line biter, but it does score 10.
Braden Galantine coaching and encouraging Dahlia Crook.
They've given it a 9-star. when I draw a compound bow by comparison, there's an awful lot of herky-jerky motion going on. I pull too hard over the peak weight, and then all of a sudden it lets go, and I don't know where that's happening, so I just hammer into the wall.
Well, you're a recurve man.
I am. I'm much better at drawing a bow that just gradually gets heavier. That's my game. That's what I do. So it is a pleasure to watch the experienced archers bows nice and smoothly.
Right now on our score sheet, they've got Dahlia Crook up by 1, 29-28.
I think that's going to change. I think this is even match right now.
Yeah. For closer inspection on all the targets. All 4 matches going on simultaneously right now.
That's a really big dot. I bet that dot covers at least the gold, if not almost all of the target face in Lexi's scope. If we get a shot of Lexi's scope, you'll see there's a fairly large blue dot right in the middle. And some compound archers, rather than, there you can see that dot a little bit, rather than looking at the 10 ring, they center that dot in one of those rings. So with a blue dot, she may be just centering it in the blue ring. And as long as it's floating around in there somewhere, it's not going to be moving around too much, so she'll be able to be comfortable and just execute a nice solid shot, as opposed to if you're trying to aim at that tiny little penny-sized 10 ring and trying to hold a pin inside there, there's way too much movement. It creates a lot of tension. So having the larger dot and not being able to see the 10 ring at least. So that dot, I don't know how it magnifies and works out. That dot may be just floating inside the gold as well. I don't know what she sees through her scope. It could be any of several different setups, but almost guaranteed she's not trying to hold anything dead inside the 10 ring. She's using a larger reference, and that will help her to relax and just shoot easy shots. It is 29-29.
They did change the score, so we're tied up at 29 all. Towards the second end. Compound matches going on, 4 of them simultaneously, which is what all these archers are used to anyway. If you go to any tournament during qualification, you'll have hundreds of people shooting simultaneously.
Indeed, quite often at the World Cup level, the bronze medal matches are held one at a time, as you well know. These are all 4 bronze medal matches. There are, in fact, 2 compound matches, 2 recurve matches going on.
It's a little bit unusual, but
nothing too far out of the norm.
No.
And it's nice and efficient. It'll keep the audience engaged. There's lots to watch. It's all happening very quickly. Another solid 9. She should have shaded that in. That's the same. When you can see those big holes through your scope, I think it's a real advantage to fill them in.
Lexi Keller drops a point.
But she's already taken this end, so she's going to finish off this end at least a point up. 2 points up.
2 points. So a tough end for Dahlia Crook.
Hanging out a little bit left. Interesting.
But keeping her spirits up.
Game ain't over yet.
Nope.
We haven't yet seen a perfect score on the women's side, so that may be the hope that she's clinging. It's possible that Lexi will drop another few points, but I believe we had a 148 in the last pass, so being evidence-based, as I tend to be, it's quite possible that Lexi Keller will shoot the rest of the way clean, and Dahlia Crook's fate is no longer in her hand.
9 more arrows left to go, though, here in this match.
It's a long way when you're shooting at
Sure.
that.
And a lot can happen with those last 9 arrows. So Dahlia Crook keeping her hopes alive and her spirits up. Trailing by 2 points, 58-56. Lexi Keller forging ahead in this match. Gold medal matches.
There's a good view on that huge dot.
Yeah, you can see how big that is.
And she's shooting a large dot as well. So neither of those women will be able to see the 10 ring, I don't believe.
Look of confidence on the face of Lexi Keller. And not quite the same look on Dahlia's face. As we get set for the third end.
There's our
three, as we say in Las Vegas.
Got to add a little bit of Vegas to the event.
Oh, absolutely. The razzle, the dazzle. It's showbiz. Welcome to Las Vegas. Or as I like to call it, lost wages.
Ah, indeed.
Yes.
Many people do.
Oh, yes.
Great job from Peter Elzinga, PJ Lock, 16.
So can Dahlia Crook battle back against Lexi Keller? We're about to find out as we head to the third end.
In the other matches, Rick van der Ven is down 3-1 against Ji Don-hyun. And Lenola Pritchard is down 4-0 to Sim Yi-ji. On the compound men's bronze medal match, it's perfect 60-60, PJ versus Peter. That's a great match going on there.
So just about set to go here. Dahlia Crook with her first shot, and it's in there.
Yep, that's a very nice 10.
Lexi Keller also with the 10. Keeping pace, countering.
Staying ahead.
Ooh.
That's another 9.
That's a 9.
Is that Lexi's 9?
That's Lexi's 9.
Interesting.
Just a little bit low with her second shot.
There we go, 1 point back. Just need one more. And we're game on again. Even so, 76-77. It's a nice tight match. That was a good shot. There's a 10. Dahlia's doing her job. They're going to have to replace that target face. Ooh.
So 3 10s for Dahlia Crook. Definitely a second shot. And they put the asterisk up by the third shot. So there's a possibility we could be tied.
Indeed. Yes, that's too close to call by the internationally renowned distance caller George Tekmachov, and that means something.
Even with that monocular.
Perfect score from the compound.
But we'll give George the benefit of the doubt. He's got to be at least 30 meters away.
Oh, at least. And he's looking down on it. It depends. If that's a high 9-10, it may be hard to distinguish from.
Has been won by the archery from Korea is Sim Yi-ji.
Sim Yi-ji has won the bronze medal
And a great performance
in women's recurve, defeating Lenola Pritchard of the United States. So one of the compound matches has been decided.
No. None of the compound matches.
No,
one of the recurve matches.
Recurve, excuse me. As Braden looks on, Braden Galantine.
And I believe it's all but done. No, it's 4-2 over on the recurve men's side.
Got the magnifying glass out here to take a look at those arrows.
Rick van der Ven is making a game of it.
Dahlia Crook finding her way back into this match. Getting a little bit of help from Lexi Keller.
So Dahlia is very new to the World Archery stage. She's so new that she's not in the World Archery database.
She will be after tonight.
Indeed. She's getting some valuable experience here. I was thinking, just looking at the image, and I'm not familiar with the name, so I was thinking she might be on the younger side. That's why I went to the World Archery database to see if I could track down her age, which I'm struggling to do.
Great shot of that target face right there.
Ah, that's a 9, I believe. Oh, she got a 10 out of it, so it is 87-86. And we're on to round 4.
So Lexi Keller clinging to the 1-point lead. Meanwhile, Deloche and Elzinga tied up at 90 all.
Nice. And I was just about to say that was a nice 30 by Dahlia Crook, but 2 nice 90s over on the compound men bronze medal match, so that's great.
And Rick Vanderven hanging in there, trailing 4-2 in his match.
They both shot 30s on that last well, so there's a lot of 30s that happened on that last set there.
Dahlia puts a dagger in.
It is. So we are tied match. There's a 10 to a 9.
2 arrows to decide this one. Perhaps.
We still have another set.
That's right, we have one more end.
So we're tied with 5 arrows left. There's a nice 10. Solid 10. Now it's time to get down to business.
The ups and downs, the backs in the fourth.
It's a great match. Down 2 points and she just started piling in 10s. Oh, did she dump a 9?
On the first arrow.
On the third arrow. There it is. So the 1-point lead is maintained. 29-29 in that end.
So Crook had a chance. Keller opened the door.
There's Matt Rekwa in the audience there behind her.
Meanwhile, one great bronze medal men's compound final taking place right now. We've got a clean score, 120. Will probably end up on the board for both of those gentlemen. Outstanding. Rick
Vanderven shooting.
Yeah, we're waiting for the last arrow from him. He shoots what looks like a 10.
Got it, 10-10-10. So now it's 5-1, 5-3. Rick can take the next set.
So that changes the score in that match with the Korean Ji Dong-hyun leading at 5-3.
Yeah, I believe that was a pair of 30s shot over on the recurve men's side.
As you get another good look at Lexi Keller and Dahlia Crook.
Looks like Lexi was looking for where that arrow went before it left her bow. Yeah, she was confident in that third one, though. There's Braden keeping Dahlia Crook nice and centered. He's great at that. If there's somebody you want as your coach back behind you, Braden is an excellent choice. He's got a really solid approach. He exudes confidence.
Love to watch him shoot.
Well, he's an excellent shooter too. So
great shooter, but brings so much emotion and energy and life to the game.
Yep.
Wears his emotions, his feelings on his sleeve. If he's happy, you'll know it. And if he's not happy, you'll know that too.
Indeed.
Let's give it up for PJ Walsh and Peter Elzinga. Perfect scores so far.
And that show of emotion does have a slightly polarizing effect on his competitors.
But it's Braden Gellantine. It's who he is.
And you got to go with who you are.
Got to go with that. That's right.
If you fight your nature, you're not going to win.
And it's worked pretty well for Braden Gellantine. Great match going on right now in the men's compound bronze medal match. Elzinga and Deloche tied up at 120 apiece.
Excellent shooting over there. Oh, they're replacing the target faces. They've chewed up the 10 ring so badly on the men's compound bronze.
Who's going to blink? That's the question. In that match, but this match that we're watching as well. Right now, Lexi Keller with a 1-point advantage, 116 to 115.
It was a pair of 30s on the recurve side. So that's a 60 for each of Ji Dong-hyun and Rick Vanderven. And of course, 2 pairs of 60s each for Peter Elzinga and PJ Deloche. Oh, there's a 119 over on. That's interesting. So there's a gain, a score discrepancy, which is interesting.
So here we go.
This is the end that will mean that decides who wins. That's a
And meanwhile, Dahlia Crook, I believe, shot a 10.
I believe so as well. So I believe we're tied. They're giving it a 9-star. I'm pretty confident that's a 9, but there's a pretty big hole chewed at the bottom of that 10 ring, so that may need a judge to decide. There's a solid 10. Not a real solid 10, but it's good enough.
Did she catch it?
She did. Oh, that's interesting. They've given Lexi. I think they've given Lexi Dahlia's. There it is.
Score, yeah.
So that was a solid 9 from Lexi. This is a great opportunity for Dahlia to just capitalize and finish it up. Ooh, big 9 though. So it all comes down to that 9-star.
Wow.
If that first 9 is a 10, we have a shoot-off? No. If
Lexi
it's a 9,
win.
we have a shoot-off.
If it's a 9, we've got a shoot-off. If it's a 10, Lexi Keller wins.
Wow. Well, that's a way to bring drama to the sport.
Some anxious moments. Can you say anxious? Back and forth. Boy, they went back and forth in this match.
I think Braden's pretty confident that that's a shoot-off.
Peering down through the binoculars.
That's an excellent. It's an excellent match from Dahlia Crook. Excellent.
So we're still waiting for Rick Vanderven to shoot, and he just has. 10-10-10 for Rick Vanderven, we're told. Oh,
it's a tie.
It's a tie.
So Rick will take 4th, and Ji Don-hyun
as they split the
is in bronze.
Set points.
Yep. But that's 3 30s in the row to finish that match. That's excellent shooting by those two guys.
Rick Vanderven putting up a fight, but Gi Dong-jung was up by 2 points. Just needed to split that set. Pick up the 1 point.
G won the first set, and then they tied the remaining 3. And that's all you need to win. So once again, if this is a shoot-off, the archers must shoot at the center face, the middle face, the second one from the top, second one from the bottom, however you want to describe that. If they shoot, it doesn't matter if they aim at the other one. It's the center one that counts. And then it's first for score, then for closest to the middle. Already tonight we have seen a couple of really nice shoot-off arrows. They're going to get... There it is. It is a tie. We have a shoot-off. This is fantastic. Couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Hey, we're in the Wild West.
We have a shoot-off over on the men's bronze, too. The men's bronze are tied at 149.
The thumbs up from Braden Galantine for Dahlia Crook.
This is exactly what you want in your medal matches. You want a close match between great competitors.
And they change the target faces at the other end.
And that's to ensure that they can get a clean measurement so that they can compare the distance should they need to.
Braden's been in this situation many times himself before and gives some great advice to Dahlia Crook.
I think that advice is shoot it in the middle. You'll win.
And I'm sure Lexi's getting the same advice from her coach as well. 2 up-and-coming promising archers from the United States, Dahlia Crook and Lexi Keller, in a great battle going on right here in Las Vegas, going down to the wire. 1 arrow to decide it. Fernando helping out down there.
These Morel targets, they're so hard to get the target tacks in. You bend your thumb halfway back. It's the surface. I don't know what it's made of, but it's very impenetrable. Once you're through, the material just behind it is nice and smooth to get in, but you have to punch through that initial surface, and that's what they're struggling with a little bit while putting up those targets.
What is going through the mind of Lexi Keller, and Dahlia Crook for that matter?
Hopefully they're thinking about nothing in particular just yet, so that when it comes time, they can close down their focus and just
do what they do naturally.
Indeed. Let it go, let it happen. Shoot with their own rhythm.
Easier said than done?
It depends. Almost I would give Dahlia Crook an advantage because she may be, and I'm just basing this may be entirely ignorance on my part. I don't know what competition she shot, but because with her, she may be sufficiently overwhelmed that she doesn't have the mental wherewithal. I've been there, so this is not an insult. I've been at tournaments where I didn't have remaining to worry about how to shoot. I just got up there and shot as best I could, and those are some of my best results. So that can almost be an advantage if to be on this stage for the first time in a shoot-off, as opposed to being a little bit more prepared and having a little bit of an expectation. We'll see what happens. It could go really well, could go not so well at all. Those are the two usual results.
One arrow to decide the match. They both shoot quickly. Dahlia with
Lexi
a 9, Lexi with a 10, and Lexi Keller comes away with the bronze medal. How about that?
But a big hug from Braden. That was a solid performance by Dahlia Crook. Slightly edged by Lexi. Two good competitors give each other a hug. It's a good match.
Very good match.
Yeah.
Very good match. Both performing well. Both giving up a point here or there. Back and forth they went throughout this match, and now Lexi Keller can sigh that sigh of relief as she goes to retrieve her arrows.
And I do believe PJ has won the bronze over on the men's side.
So I hope you enjoyed that match. Great match in the women's compound, the bronze medal match. An excellent 10.
Yeah, you can see how close that was to touching the center of the cross. And that's a long way out there.
Not what she had in mind. But great experience for both of these young ladies, young women.
Not a great result. Fourth in this field. I'd be happy with it. I'd be happier with third. And, as you go up the tree, I'd continue to get happier and happier.
Yes, with silver and then gold. But Lexi Keller going to go back home with a bronze medal from Las Vegas, and that ain't all bad. So a highly competitive between the two American archers in this women's bronze medal match.
Shooting almost simultaneously. That's a good 10.
And Deloche does take the men's bronze medal match in the compound competition as he wins the tiebreaker with Peter Elzinga 10-9.
Indeed, yes. Oop. Well, we've got some mood lighting going on in the stadium right now. We're highlighting the center field. We're now into the gold medal matches. We're going to shoot those one at a time. We're going to start out with the recurve women. Progress to the recurve men, then the compound women's gold medal match, and finish off with what should be an intense compound men's gold medal match. All of these matches should be good. The compound men, they've been so near perfection all night long. That really could be an exciting finale to our event today. The recurve women is a battle of Korea.
Kim Min-jung, who came in unranked, 22 years old. And according to the records we have, this is her second appearance in international competition. And we will see her out here shortly.
She came in ranked number 1 in the World Cup final, though.
Right.
So unranked in the world rankings.
Yes. And won the gold medal in Nîmes.
Nice.
Just a couple of weeks ago.
She won't stay unranked for very long.
No.
If she keeps
some momentum coming in here to Las Vegas. And quite a field to have to fight through to get to this point.
Of course. The Vegas field is huge. The prize money at the end of Vegas is some of the biggest that you're going to find in archery tournaments in the world, which that's a huge draw. It brings archers from all over the world.
Close to $300,000, I believe.
In total prize?
Total prize money, yes.
Nice. There is it's a really interesting way that they do it in the Vegas shoot. There's big pots for what's known as the championship flight, but there are also prizes even in what is known as the flights. So it's a unique tournament unto itself. It has slightly different than many other events. The distance is 20 yards instead of 18 meters, for example. These vertical 3-spot faces that we're seeing here are not shot for the Vegas shoot. The Vegas shoot's at a triangle 3-spot. It's the same size target face, it's just a different configuration. It's an older configuration. World Archery used to use the triangle 3. They switched to the vertical 3. I don't actually know what the rationalization was behind it.
I was going to ask you what the rationalization was.
You might be able to get more of them more conveniently on a target. It might suit a 2-position at a time, so an ABCD style shooting line. I'm not exactly sure what it promotes. I quite like the vertical 3-spot, personally, so I'm glad they changed to it. But I couldn't tell you what the reason was off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up.
This is Jo Seung-yeon of Korea, and she'll be on target number 2.
I've seen her a couple of times on the practice range this week, and I've really enjoyed watching her shooting form. It's very crisp. It's your classic Korean women's archery form. It just looks very, very nice, and it looks like it should put tens in the target all day long, and that's what she's proceeded to do. That's what's got her to this gold medal match.
And a little bit of a delay here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. Good look at the crowd, many of whom have hung around here. We had even more at the beginning of the night.
I was going to say, it looks like it's thinned out a little bit.
Some of them heading for the tables, I'm sure, in the casino nearby.
I can't imagine leaving just when the show starts getting interesting.
Get to the gold medal matches, yeah. By the way, that's Hugh McDonald from Canada. I'm Carl Archie from the United States. And wherever you are in this big wide world, we hope you're enjoying our live coverage on World Archery TV. We'll have more live coverage coming up tomorrow for one of the wildest rounds you'll ever see. What is it, 30 that we'll start off with?
Not tomorrow. There are currently 2, I believe, who still have 300.
Okay.
And then there's the lucky dog shoot, so there will be one more.
Right.
But it also has to include tomorrow's shoot, so there will be a little bit more attrition. You might get as many as 17. 17 is the most I believe I've ever seen.
And they'll all be shooting until they miss.
Yes, so
Miss the 10.
And this is the compound men, I think it's called the Pro Championship Flight. And these are guys who have, in the Vegas round, the compounds score the big 10, the recurve 10. And then they count the inner 10 as an X. So that's unique to the Vegas round. Ordinarily indoors, you do not score an X, and the compounds only score the little 10. So that's one of the things they've done in the Vegas round. But in order to make it to the finals, where your $40,000 pot is sitting there waiting for you, all the compound men in the pro division know that they have to shoot clean for 3 days. They can't miss that at all to have a good shot at it. You can miss it once to have still a hope. There's a lucky dog shoot-off, which means that everybody who's got 899 points after 3 days of shooting
shoots again.
Yes.
To become that lucky dog, but you don't want it to come to that point.
No, because then you have a shoot-off to get into a shoot-off.
Shoot-off, right. Now we're set to go.
All right.
As the 2 competitors from Korea, and that is Jo Seung-yeon on the right, and on the left, there you go, right in the center of your screen, Kim Min-jung.
This is the 22-year-old we were speaking of earlier. We're going to use alternating arrows, which is fantastic.
So Ms. Kim on the left on target 1.
But Miss Jo will be starting out. So now they have 20 seconds for each shot. Quite a long hold. That's a good 10. That would be compound 10.
Shaky start.
A little bit. There is a little bit of wiggle room with the recurve because of the fingers involved, and because, especially in my opinion, the short distance. You're going to get more nines. Yep.
There's that wiggle room.
It would be nice to say that we could be clean. This is my theory. I'm just going to put it out there. The short distance, when you release a recurve arrow, there's quite a lot of flex to the shaft.
Mm-hmm.
And in 18 meters, to try to get an arrow to settle down and fly true, that's very, very tricky. You have to have very, very good tuning, but you also, under this kind of pressure, you have to have exactly the same consistent release that you do in your most relaxed practice. And that's very, very hard to duplicate. There's a 10. Very nice.
So they're tied at 28. But to your point, Hugh, anybody who's seen the flight of an arrow in slow motion knows exactly what you're talking about. It wiggles like a fish.
Indeed. Out of a recurve, out of a compound, there's far less of that Archer's paradox.
More of a direct line.
Yes. And in fact, the wiggle on a compound shot is more often vertical rather than horizontal. So that huge noodle sort of effect on the arrow creates a lot more variation at the target, because 18 meters is such a short distance. The arrows are in the air for well under a second. There's very, very little time for them to correct. So that release needs to be still super relaxed, super smooth, just come cleanly off, and away you go. So these archers are now tied at 1 set point apiece. We are doing set play here. It is a race to 6 set points. The first archer with 6 will take the victory, and that can win on a tie.
Right now it's a slow race. We're tied up at 1 apiece.
Yes. Not terribly surprising between 2 Korean archers to have them be equal, at least in the early going.
So many talented archers coming from the country of Korea. We have 2 right here. But the Koreans coming to Las Vegas. They also dominated in Bangkok this year on the indoor tour.
Wow. Well, and this is, as I understand it, you may have just mentioned it, this is the first have really made an impact indoors. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted. I was watching the releases of each of these 2 archers. If it goes according to the last 2 images we saw, if you watch Miss Jo's release, she actually opens her fingers a little bit. Her fingers will end up a little bit straighter. Works for her. It's similar to O's release. He ends up with very, very straight fingers. If you watch Miss Kim's release, her fingers are far more relaxed, and it looks like the string just sort of cuts through them and sort of disappears.
Both styles working on that first shot. Here the second set.
So you could see the straight ring finger on the end of that shot. And we'll see if Miss Kim has a nice... Yeah. Suddenly the string just isn't there anymore. Right. That's closer to Kim Soon-young's release style, which was arguably one of the best releases of all time.
9.
A little bit of a slip right there for Ms. Jo.
Door is slightly open.
9, 2-2 draw.
But she couldn't quite walk through.
First archer to reach 6 set points will win the match and gold medal tonight.
So still tied after 2 sets.
At this rate, we're going to be having a shoot-off.
We may be headed for that, which we will not mind one little bit. At this point, after you've shot so many arrows, of course they shoot a lot of arrows anyway, but does exhaustion start to, or fatigue at all, become a factor?
Not at these volumes. Today, for example, I shot 36 practice arrows before I went for my Vegas shooting, which was another 42. So at the end of Vegas shooting today, I was at 78 arrows total on the day. So I went back to practice a little while later, shot another 57 just to get up to 135, which is still a light day for me. a light day for these guys is probably 300 arrows. So the volume they're shooting here is, they could shoot as much as they could find time to do, and it would still be a light day for them. There is no exhaustion in this. The only risk of fatigue due to the pressure. The Koreans, again, because the Vegas shoot is unique, and it involves halfway through the tournament moving your target from the top row to the bottom row, halfway through half a tournament. So every 5 ends you move your target from the top row to the bottom row, and you only shoot 30 arrows a day. It's such a strange format that the Koreans would undoubtedly say, well, this is a little bit alien to me, and so they're having to adapt to a whole bunch of new and unusual rules on top of shooting indoors and all of the time zones and that sort of idea. But they're adapting very, very well. They're still leading everything, yeah. So it's not a huge challenge, but they never know what surprise thing is going to happen next. Fortunately, in this round here, we're back in their bailiwick archery style. So you're marking your arrow holes, you're shooting 18 meters, you're shooting at the vertical 3 spot, you're shooting 2-minute ends, you've got 20, at this point we've got 20 seconds per arrow. That's a big 9. Ooh.
Wow.
Long way. It still counts, yeah. Points.
Almost wound up in that red ring.
10.
Nice. So there's, okay, we've got a clear winner of a set. We've got a 4-2 lead.
Ms. Kim runs the table there. And moves 2 points ahead, 4-2 in this match after the first 3 sets. That 1 arrow, the difference right now in this match. But it can flip-flop back the other way just as easily in this next set.
Perfectly simply, yeah. Because of set play. So that 9, it could have been a 2. Well, it couldn't have been a 2. It could have been a 6. Can't score 2 on these
Not
target
on these
faces.
targets, no.
But it could have been anything, and it would have meant the same against the 10-10-10.
Sort of like an inch is as good as a mile?
Indeed. Yep.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
So Ms. Zhou must shake that off.
And that means that Ms. Zhou will lead again, which is no change. So in set play, the person with the fewest set points leads. If they're tied, and sorry, that didn't make any sense. If the person with the fewest set points shoots first in each successive set, unless they're tied, in which case they go back to the original shooting order. Because the original shooting order was Ms. Zhou shooting, we've just stuck with that the entire way so far.
Perfectly clear to me.
10.
And Ms. Kim can see clearly as well.
Yep, now all Ms. Kim has to do is match 10 for 10, and the match will be hers. She has control, which is a nice way to be. But every 10 Ms. Zhou shoots, puts the pressure back on her shoulders.
Sure. There's pressure on both of them. Different kinds of pressure.
10.
Although I'd rather personally have the pressure of having a lead, trying to hang on to it.
Yes, or extend it.
Given the option.
10.
Nice.
Great concentration.
And you can see by comparison, I don't know what the men are shooting, but the women, we've been watching the compound matches, and all of the arrows have been quite large shafts. The recurves often stick with the small. These are X10 shafts. An arrow that's well tuned will still shoot 10s, and because the focus for a lot of recurves is really the outdoor games, that's where the Olympics is, that sort of idea. They spend so much time tuning their bow for their outdoor arrows. When they switch to indoor shooting, they just keep the outdoor arrows because the bows are so well set up that they're still going to work just fine. You shoot a good arrow, it's still going to be in the middle. Good enough. There's a large group of people who believe that shooting the larger shafts are what's called line biters or line cutters. And the idea behind it is that if you have a thicker shaft, you can be farther away from the line and still catch
the line, yeah.
I prefer the theory of just shoot a good shot and make sure it's in.
And don't mess things up, because the outdoor season coming up soon. The Arizona Cup coming up in April. And then the first stage of the World Cup Tour outdoors in Shanghai in May.
I believe it starts May 5th. He's 10. Settling right down into a good rhythm, shooting lots of 10s. Very nice. Ooh, and there we are. There's a window. So it's 5-3. Miss Jo needs to win this set outright.
10.
And she can. With one more 10, she can clinch.
She's on her way.
She's got to wait to see what Miss Kim does here.
10.
All right, so the pressure's back on. She shoots a 10, she can clinch. If she shoots a 9, that means Miss Kim needs to shoot a 10 to win. A 9 will force a shoot off. There it is.
There's the 10 that
we have
forces
the
the shoot off.
Yes.
Yes. So
And that was an 10s after that early, that 9 that was her downfall early. She finished up with 6 straight 10s to force a shoot off. That's patience and diligence. That's getting the job done.
And despite that 10 by Kim on her final shot, the set goes to this young lady.
And that's a 5-5 tie, which requires a single arrow shoot off. They'll change the target faces again. Same protocol as last time. It's confirmed.
So we are headed for the shoot off.
So we'll need to swap the targets. And then it will be original shooting order. I believe Miss Jo will shoot first. And
So
if they tie for score, it will be a measurement to see who wins.
Tells you just how competitive and how close it is here at the Vegas shoot. We saw a shoot off in the women's compound between Lexi Keller and Dahlia Crook. Keller coming away with the tiebreaker 10-9.
That's interesting. They're not replacing the target face. That surprises me.
And again, the center target.
Yes. Always have to shoot the center target and a 3-spot face in a shoot-off. For that reason, some archers will actually have their shooting rhythm start at the center all the time. 10
Just
line
on the
biter.
line.
There's a lot of room to get a better 10 than that. But it's still 10 points. Any 9 is not good enough. And in fact, a few 10s are not good enough.
Ms. Kim going for the kill.
Long hold. Oh, that's an 8.
An 8. So the 9 for Ms. Jo is enough to win it. As Kim Min-jung shoots an 8 on her tie-breaking shot out there, way out there in the red ring.
That was the first red we've seen all night.
And what a come-from-behind performance by Jo Seung-hyun. And I apologize if we're not pronouncing the name exactly correctly, but
or even close.
Or even close.
It's quite likely that we're well off. We're doing our best.
We're giving it our best effort, as did Ms. Jo.
Yep. So just to, because I'm like that, the marks that were on Miss Jo's target were a little bit longer than is World Archery standard. They recommend between 2 and 5 millimeters in length. Those look like they were closer to, 25 millimeters in length. When she was marking her arrow holes, they were quite elaborate arrow marks.
So a come-from-behind performance and a come-from-behind victory for Jo Hyun of Korea.
Yeah, it's hard to, you could see, ooh. So on that repeat, you could see she lost everything in her back. So that comes back to the personal rhythm. She held that too long, as I mentioned, and she lost contact with the shot. So if you watch that final shot again, you'll see her string hand actually go forward and open up quite a lot more.
As her hand was coming forward?
Yes, rather than her normal release, which was just suddenly the string is gone through her fingers, it's nice and relaxed, and her string hand pops back immediately.
So she did something she basically really hadn't been doing most of the match.
No, she disconnected from her shot. She lost all of her momentum in the shot, and as a consequence, that arrow went far out to the right side and hit an 8.
Small, small, small margin for error. And it cost Miss Kim. But Korea gets gold and silver.
And bronze, I believe.
In the women's recurve.
Yes. Because it was Lenola Pritchard versus the third Korean whose name escapes me just at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the contenders for our men's recurve gold medal final. Representing Korea.
Lenola Pritchard lost to Sim Ye-ji.
That's right. And a strong match from Sim, 29-29-29.
So a clean sweep for the Koreans in the women's recurve, which is not all that surprising.
And I believe it'll be a clean sweep for the men Korean as well, as Rick Vandervan lost his bronze medal match. And now we have the two Koreans representing Hyundai here in the final. And a surprise that isn't here is Oh Jin-hyek, who lost to a shoot-off to Rick earlier in the day.
Kim Jae-young versus Min Byung-yeon. So once again, an all-Korean.
And here we go. No, wasting no time.
Right down to business.
There's the archer on the screen's left that's shooting first, obviously.
And that would be Mr. Min.
Yes. It's a nice 10.
10.
That took some effort, but it's a very nice 10 as well. Oh, there we are. This very nice.
Says I'll see you.
And raise you even better.
Yeah.
There's only so long they can play that game until they're just hitting the middle.
10.
Ooh, dear.
A little bit of a flinch right there.
Bit of a stiff release, I would say.
Still a 1-point lead for Mr. Kim.
2-point lead now. He takes that set.
Oh, excuse me, yes. 2-point lead.
Yeah, so in set play, it's all about who wins each set, and then you get 2 set points.
I was looking at the 29 points.
Yep.
But that 1-point difference means 2 points, 2 set points for Mr. Kim.
And this race to 6. Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a stutter release, but he got a 10 out of it. That was quite a nice release, and I think that was his second. Excellent. We should. Ooh, that was a 9. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. It looked like a very nice release, so something else may have been going on with the shot. Can't say for certain. I would take that execution over the stutter release of Mr. Kim all day long.
Kim Jae-young, 24 years old. And according to my notes, the first international competition since 2010.
Wow. So that would be Junior Worlds, would it?
Well, that was until he went to Nîmes.
All right.
And finished with the bronze medal in Nîmes.
Oh, wow.
Just a couple of weeks ago. But it does tell you about the depth of the talent that is in that country.
Look at that 10. Not going to get any better than that. But at the end of the day, that only scores 10 points.
10.
And so does that. Both of these guys are looking very, very calm.
going about their business. And that business is shooting tens. There's another one.
I'm not a huge fan of Mr. Kim's release. It looks a little bit forced, but it's very effective at 18 meters. I'll give him that. Mr. Min's, I think, looks far more relaxed, far more natural. I like the flow of his shot.
So they split the set points.
Split the set, which means that Mr. Kim maintains the lead
over Min Byung-yong.
And he will win. As long as he maintains, as long as they split every set, Mr. Kim will win this match.
By the way, Mr. Min has a win over Oh Jin-hyuk on his resume. That was nice. In Nîmes a couple of weeks ago as well. The third stage of the indoor tour.
Let's hear it for Mr. Kim and for Mr. Min.
31 exits. Right. Through the first two.
We're about to get back underway. These guys are from a country that's got the most depth of any when it comes to talent recurve category. They're also coming up.
Having a little fun in the audience there. All right, set number 3. Mr. Min leads out once again. 8 set points. If he can catch up, he will still be leading. If he can lead the match, ooh, that's a 9, I'm pretty sure. Very effective. So Mr. Min's a little bit, there we go. I was going to say he's been hanging out a little bit to the left, but he's just made a good side adjustment.
10.
Mr. Kim seems to be a little bit more centered. No need to move his sight.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. And right now it's working for Kim Jae-young. Mr. Min.
There's another 9 out to the left.
So possibly 2 9s in that set.
An excellent group, though. If you look at the size of those groups, those are all, it's a 10-ring size group. It's just hanging out to the left.
For a 5-1 lead.
Very nice.
Kim Jae-young.
6 straight 10s.
Putting some more daylight between himself and his countryman, Min Byung-yong. So this one may not have the drama that we've seen in some of the earlier matches.
Absolutely not. This is, it looks like it's going to end a little bit early. We'll have to see, though. It's amazing what can happen with that lead. Try too hard to close it out if you change your game in any way. Mr. Kim just has to keep doing what he's doing. It's scoring 10s for him. He has to make sure that nothing changes. So that's a 90 to start for Mr. Kim.
Not bad.
Yeah. So as much as I don't like his release, I should just stay up here in the booth.
It is working for him.
He's shooting 10s.
Kim Jae-young finished 9th at Porsche and 18th in Antalya in 2008. Competed at the Asian Grand Prix in Malaysia in 2010, where he finished 5th and then picked up the bronze medal a few weeks ago in Nîmes, but is poised to win a gold medal here in Las Vegas.
Oh, look at that 10. That's the second time he's hit that hole. Very nice.
But right now he's at the mercy of this man.
If he just keeps doing it, here's a long hold. This is almost certainly not a 10.
10.
But it caught
almost.
Almost certainly not a 10.
Almost certainly.
That was a very long hold. He's got to be very careful. If he changes his route, he's going to start falling out of that 10 ring. So you can get away with it for a little while. Oh, look at that. 2 dead center 10s.
If you had to guess, how many pounds are they pulling?
They're probably close. They'd be between, I would say, 47 and 50.
10.
Just catching high 10s. How long can he get away with that?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. He's got to just get one more, and it's game over.
10-10.
But
strong finish by Mr. Min.
Well, it's maybe not a finish yet, right? So 10 wins it. 10 for a tie to split the set points, which gets Mr. Kim 6 points. This would be the first 9 if he doesn't get it. There's a 10. So that's a perfect 120. That's really nice shooting.
Coming through at crunch time.
Well, and he's happy with that, isn't he?
Should be.
Love it.
Flew a long way to get here, and he's going to go home with a gold medal.
And look at that. After 4 straight ends of zero emotion from either of these gentlemen, there's a nice smile and a little bit of self-cheer. I like to see that. I really enjoy seeing the people who are happy.
Well, after all the work that's put into it.
Well, but it's joy. It's not spiteful. It's just happiness. No. Hey, I won.
It's joy.
Yeah.
It's joy. It's happiness. It's the hard work paying off. And all of these archers, the Koreans, the Americans, the Dutch, everybody who's here has worked very, very hard to get here, get to this point. And we applaud both of these men, all of these archers. But these 2 men who've just picked up the gold and silver medals respectively. Kim Jae-young, 4 years old, from Korea. Maybe the biggest win of his career. Probably is.
Yep, that'll...
Got a little bit of swagger in his step right there.
That'll get him some respect back home.
That's right. Hey, man, I went to Vegas, and I won. And not a lot of people could say that.
Not a lot of people have as much of their fate in their own hands as these guys do.
This is true. So congratulations to Kim Jae-young, who wins the gold medal here at the World Cup final in Las Vegas 2015. And Min Byung-yeon will go home with the silver medal, which will complement the gold medal he won in Nîmes as he defeated his countryman Oh Jin-yuk just a couple of weeks back. A couple of kids staying up late past their bedtime. We caught you.
Taking a picture of themselves on the Jumbotron. Nice.
Absolutely. Now, is that a selfie of a... I don't know.
What is the term for that?
I'm not sure. Can you take a selfie of a selfie? I'm not sure. Erika Jones waiting in the wings.
Indeed. So this next match... So this is between Erika Jones, who had the high score in the passes, versus I think it's Crystal Govin, who had the highest score overall.
So there is Erika Jones, the Athlete of the Year in Women's Compound for 2014 as a vote by the fans and a jury of her peers concluded. And Erika has fought her way through the field to reach the gold medal match here in Las Vegas at the World Cup final. Erika on target number 2, and she will face her teammate from the United States, Crystal Govin, who is awfully good indoors. Pretty good outdoors, too.
Excellent shooters all around.
And there's Crystal Govin.
So being back in the compound realm, we're back into the big fat arrows. So we'll be able to see that. We're back to the little tiny 10 ring, and we're back to cumulative score. So we're going to be shooting all 5 ends. They're back to ends now, not sets, in alternating arrows. And it's for total score at the end of 15 arrows. Person with the highest score walks away. If it's tied, then we have our shoot off into the center face.
Crystal Govin actually started out as a swimmer, competitive swimmer, made the change over to archery. Hasn't looked back and has done exceptionally well.
I would say that some of the traits within reason. Crystal doesn't look like a terribly tall athlete. So one of the normal traits for a swimmer is to have a large wingspan with respect to height. And that's an advantage in archery because it gets you a longer draw length, which means that you've got a more stable arrow and it gives you more power stroke behind the arrow. So it means your arrow is going relatively faster for the same amount of draw weight, which means that it's actually traveling less distance to get to its destination, which means that you have
greater accuracy.
Your errors are minimized.
Maybe some nerves on that opening salvo.
Perhaps. First archer that we've seen to shoot from bottom up. Most of them are picking top down.
Erika cashing in with a 10 on her first shot.
Long better 10. Another one of the interesting rule differences between the Vegas shoot and this shoot here is the outside diameter of the arrow can only be 9.3 millimeters in the World Archery shoot, but in the Vegas shoot you can have 27/64 of an inch as the outside diameter of your arrow. So you're allowed a slightly larger arrow in the Vegas shoot than you are in World Archery, and I know of at least one archer who had to change arrows from the Vegas shoot when they were competing into this final. The 2-point lead, unlike in the recurve situation, that's going to carry over. And because Erika's leading, Crystal will be shooting first in the next set, which doesn't change anything from the shooting order. We have yet to have a shooting order.
So a somewhat large deficit already for Crystal Galvin to deal with. Erika Jones with a 2-point lead to start off with. Erika, of course, the silver medalist at the World Cup final in Lausanne outdoor last September in Switzerland.
So the reason I was laughing there is both of these women are so experienced that when they get to a gold medal match, they're used to having an agent downrange do the scoring and pull their arrows for them. So they just, both of them, I think, just grabbed their water bottle and took standing around, and the judge.
Oh, you mean I got to go get those?
Yeah, the judge finally had to say, "Go fetch your arrows."
Go, go. Which they do most of the time anyway.
Yes, absolutely. It's just in the finals,
sure,
that you'll have an agent. So, but this is a gold medal final, so they just went into autopilot. And that's supposed to happen. So they probably both have 6 or more arrows in their quivers, and they were just expecting to cycle through as they normally do. Never occurred to them that they didn't have an agent. That's great.
So a little more exercise for Crystal and Erika.
Well, and it's a good mental break for sure. You get a little giggle at, you know what, that almost...
It takes a little bit of the edge off.
For sure, yeah. It's going to relax them a little bit. They get to laugh at themselves a little bit. Now they'll just be right back to being focused. You can see Erika's wearing those glasses, and Crystal is not.
Crystal's been in these gold medal situations before. No stranger to gold medal matches. Trying to recover here in the second end.
Ooh, there's a nice 10.
And you're right, she does start out low.
Yep. Starts out on the bottom target.
Bottom target, works her way up.
So Erika's just shooting the clear lenses.
9.
Ooh.
So there's 1 point back.
Little bit of a break in form.
10.
There's a nice 10. Inside out with those big arrows, that's hard to do.
Smack dab in the middle.
Nice smooth transition to get into the active phase of working the release. The release goes off. There goes in the 10.
Done it probably a million times.
Oh, darn, there's a 9. That gives Erika a chance to crank that lead back up to 2 points. Long hold.
Ooh, lets the opportunity go by the wayside.
Yep, so it's down to 1 point. 1 point's enough to win, though.
So it's now 58-57. As we saw some 9s by both of these archers here in this second end.
Well, I think I've mentioned that 10 is awfully small. And they're not missing by much.
What was your analogy earlier? It's like a penny at the end of my driveway?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, do we have a line call over here? Oh. Just a little discussion. So some athletes will pick the bottom target to start with because it keeps their eye initially close to the target number so they can make sure that they're actually shooting at their target. One of the things that does happen occasionally, especially in a packed venue like this, is that you can shoot on the wrong target. And that's a very, very quick way to lose 10 points. In this particular scenario, because there's really one target anywhere close to where you are, it would be pretty hard to shoot at the wrong target. But once you've developed the habit, so it's a bit of it could be a bit of a safety gauge. I know some archers will make sure that they're looking at the target number to make sure that they're shooting at the correct target before they shoot their arrow.
And I've seen that in other sports, and when it happens, it's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
It's such an unfortunate way to lose because it's not any lack of quality, it's just a mistake. Nice 10. And sometimes with a confusing field or really, really close targets, it's so easy to just line up a little bit wrong and you're all of a sudden scoring 0. 9. And there goes the lead. We are tied.
So we're tied.
Currently.
Subject to change.
Yes, we still have a bunch of arrows left to go.
9.
And that brings it back into play. So this is our third end.
Husband Casey watching on as Erika lines up this shot to try to go back ahead, and she does. Moves back in front by 1. Good match going on. Crystal Govin trying to get back in the groove.
Ooh, just out. That's a 9.
Looks out here.
There's no need for that asterisk, I'm pretty sure. That's a 9. Good call on the part of the scorers, but they may not have the same angle we do.
No doubt about that shot by Erika Jones.
So I believe there's a 1-point lead. Sorry, a 2-point lead.
So we were tied momentarily after the first arrows by both of those archers here in this end, but didn't remain tied.
No,
as
Erika
you said,
rebuilt her lead.
you called it.
Yeah.
Canada along with Carl Archie here on World Archery TV.
Erika's having an excellent day here.
Having an excellent week.
Not looking terribly happy with that shot. That was probably her 9.
It's like me when I'm bowling. I'm trying to use the English, body English, to try to get that ball in.
That happens more often than you know.
Can you will an arrow after you released it?
You can will it all you want, but it's still going to go where you put it.
Yeah.
I actually had a judge come over. I was using so much English. One of the signals is to raise your bow arm if you've got an equipment failure, and I knew I'd let it go low, so I had my bow arm way up in the air. And a judge came over and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "What's the problem?" And I said, "Pardon me?" And I looked up and realized what I was doing.
It's me.
Yeah,
it's just me.
Sorry, I shot that one low. I was trying to fix it after it left.
Good look at the venue here at the South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, south end of the Strip. This arena is an equestrian arena normally, and right now the horse that's out in front is Erika Jones, up by 2 points, and husband Casey excited about the prospect of perhaps another victory tonight for his wife. Erika with that 2 point.
They've done a really good job. They the first year that we shot here, I think, I don't remember them having all this carpet laid down for us. And so we were on, it was fairly hard packed, but it was dusty. And this carpet really makes a nice level surface to shoot from. The lighting's generally pretty good in this arena. It's a pretty good archery venue, for sure. That's a 10. So that's a good start. She needs lots more 10s. And needs a little bit of help from Erika. I don't think Erika's going to give her too much more help from here on out. Certainly not if she has anything to say about it.
Low on the second shot for Crystal Gauvin.
9s are not the call of the day right now. That's just giving Erika room to breathe. She's working pretty hard, though. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was a 9.
Just outside. You know, and on that camera angle, Hugh, it looks like it's way outside.
Well, it's quite magnified.
It's actually quite close.
Yeah. There's a lot of magnification in that camera shot.
If you were to walk up to that target and look at it, you'd be surprised how close that really was to the 10 ring. But right now, after this end is over, it's now a 3-point lead as Erika Jones is slowly but surely pulling away.
Yeah, and you can see the frustration building in Crystal Gauvin. That last shot especially, sort of shaking her head saying, what do I have to do to get these things in? And there are days when they are just barely all the time, and it's frustrating, and you have to really just take a breath and let go of that frustration, because if you let it hang around, you're going to keep just missing all
And it's
day.
one of the toughest things to do in sports, any sport, is to play forward, forget about what's happened in the past, because you can't change it.
Nope, those arrows are done. What you can do is which arrow is next.
Magnifying
There's
glass
a
out.
9. Got a little bit of lip reading there.
Mm-hmm. Scores being called in by Fernando. Down by the targets with Crystal and Erika.
So 3-point lead, 3 arrows to go. Basically, if Erika stays gold, worst case scenario, it's a shootout. Oh, it's a 4-point lead. Now if she just stays gold, she wins.
So 3 more arrows to be shot in this gold medal match. Women's compound.
I apologize, but Erika got that 9-star. That was in fact scored a 10. So that was a 9 for Erika.
When you're hot, you are hot.
Yeah, when you're doing well, you get lucky too. So as long as Erika stays in the gold, she has won this match. There's nothing Crystal can do.
But she will try. No question about that. Crystal Gauvin.
Good 10.
Well done.
Erika has to still go for 10s, because if you get lazy and just try to shoot gold, you're going to hit an 8. She's been hitting 10s all day. Just keep shooting 10s.
So it's back down to a 3-point lead.
There's a 9. That
However.
gives, yep. It takes 1 point to win, so now Erika can afford to. So 4 points and 1 arrow, as long as Erika scores, more or less.
9.
Yep. As long as
And
Erika
that will
hits
seal her fate.
As long as Erika hits the scoring rings, she wins.
Erika Jones, good as gold.
Good finish.
Another gold medal for Erika Jones of the United States.
Solid shooting all the way through the matches.
Fought her way through the field. Got the match. Came through again. So Erika Jones, adding to her collection of medals and trophies. And
yeah, some of these archers are going to have to start worrying about dragons. They've got so much gold piled around in their houses.
so one last look at the target faces just to confirm what I think we all already know.
Yep, that was pretty solid. Nice shooting by Erika.
And Rock calling the tunes here. This girl is on fire. I think an appropriate selection for Erika Jones.
For today,
she is
certainly.
on fire. It's been a great weekend for her, as we said already, named the Female Athlete of the Year in Women's Compound last night at the World Archery Game South Point Hotel and Casino. Picked up the trophy. And Crystal Gauvin giving it a great shot here tonight. She'll go home with the silver. I know she's disappointed now, but silver not too shabby.
No, this is a high class field. To make it all the way to the silver medal, that's quality shooting. It's a good job, well done, for sure. Of course,
you understand the disappointment because it does take so much to get to this point. And you don't know when that next opportunity is going to come.
No, you'd rather capitalize every time you get there.
Right. So you can understand the disappointment for Crystal, but she'll be back. Great archer. Outdoor season looming large, coming up soon. And she will be a major factor on the outdoor circuit as well, as will Erika Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the contenders for our final match of the evening.
Well, here's a good look at Stephen Hansen from Denmark. I remember when I first saw Stephen Hansen about 2 years ago in Antalya. He was on the team with Martin Damsbo and Patrick.
That's right.
Yes. They won the gold medal in Antalya, and I said, somebody check his driver's license or his birth certificate. Is he old enough to be here?
Oh, yes, he is.
He is definitely. Don't be deceived. He looks young. Boy, he is terrific. But he's got his hands full right now with Mike Schlosser of the Netherlands.
Indeed, Mike Schlosser has been just putting on a clinic today. Well, and all week, and I guess for the past month or so.
So this shapes up as a really, really good match right now. But you got to think Schlosser's got to be the favorite going into this one, the way he's been shooting.
He's chosen to lead off, so he wants to bring it. He wants to put the pressure right on Stefan Hansen right now, right from the get-go. It's a bit of an interesting line he shoots. But you can't argue with the results. Nice.
Nice start for Hansen.
Both solid starts. And again, top target. So Crystal was the only person who chose not the top target to start with.
10.
Inside out. Very nice. Those are enormous fletch with a huge helical. Indoors,
I was going to ask you about that. It looked bigger.
yeah, so indoors you can get away with really large fletch and a whole lot of twist on them. Same thing, Mike Schlosser's got it as well. You get larger profile, more drag, as long as you can get clearance from the bow. And with these compounds with the drop away rests, clearance is relatively easy.
9.
And what the helical does is it makes the arrow turn, it stabilizes it faster, it corrects it faster. Even though there's less right from the get-go with a compound arrow, a compound bow, those fletch will correct any deflection that there is even faster.
And for those who might be watching archery for the first time, you're talking about the green feathers. Feathers, I call them, but
sure,
they're actually the fletch,
yes,
and that's the part of the arrow that Hugh McDonald is referring to right now.
Yeah, and so indoors you want as much drag as you can get away with.
And there's Patrick, his teammate, Stefan Hansen's teammate from Denmark.
Nice break of the shot, nice action on both sides.
By the way, Stefan Hansen started his night in the 1/8 round by beating Braden Galantine in a shoot-off.
Ooh.
So he got his night rolling in good fashion, in good style.
He had his work cut out from him right from the get-go. And the top 16 in the world, that's a huge pile of great archers to overcome to get to this point. But it doesn't matter who you're up against. It's a great archer.
You're gonna run up against a great guy.
Nobody flukes in the top 16 in this game. Not in compound. Not in any category.
So basically, what you're saying is there are no easy wins, easy W's.
Not at all.
Trailing. Stefan Hansen will shoot first.
And trailing is a bad way to be against Mike Schlosser.
Because when he gets you down, usually he keeps you down.
He's just going to keep shooting 10s.
10.
Stays in front by 1.
He's just going to keep shooting the same hole. That's oh, I've got a hole in the 10 ring already. I'll just keep using that one. It'll make life easy. Ooh.
A little bit of a flinch there.
Yeah, that was a big, yep.
Yeah, and it cost him. You could just see a little bit of a flinch in his hand.
Anticipating the release going off just a little bit.
Mike is rock solid and moves ahead by 2.
Oh dear. That's a lot of points to give up to Mr. Schlosser.
10, 10, 10.
So Mike Schlosser's release actually has a position for his pinky finger. He's just not using it. So you'll see that extra little hook up there. I suppose he likes the shape of it, but just doesn't feel the need to get his pinky finger on that hook.
Whatever he's doing is working well. Mike Schlosser last year, big winner here in Las Vegas here last year.
I think he's wearing a belt buckle he earned likely last year from the 900 club.
Yes. Won that big Vegas round, cashed in big time here in Las Vegas. Been a big factor on the indoor and the outdoor circuit.
He's showing a fair amount of dominance in the indoor circuit this year, that's for sure.
And we'll see if it transfers over into the outdoor circuit. Coming up, as we've already mentioned, it'll be the beginning of May. We'll all be in Shanghai for stage 1. Stage 2 will be in Antalya. Then we'll have a little bit of a time off. Then the World Championships will be in Copenhagen in July.
But immediately following that, there's the Poland World Cup.
Wrocław. And then it's Colombia, Medellin in September, followed by Mexico City.
For the World Cup final, there's also a pre-Olympic test event in Brazil right in that.
Yes. This is going to be an important season coming up for a lot of people. Start to really dial in on Rio.
It's a very, very busy year. World Archery has 4 outdoor World Championships that they're conducting this year. There's Youth Worlds, there's Worlds, I think, World 3D, and Senior World Outdoor Target.
10.
Automatic Mike Schlosser. Another 10.
As I say, just been putting on an absolute clinic.
And he drops another point, Stefan Hansen.
He's really struggling with that third target. Hasn't hit a 10 on it yet.
Could be down by 4. Ooh.
Oh, rare 9.
It remains 3. And you can hear the murmur go through the crowd.
Well, and he's got a good chuckle about it.
But listen to this crowd. They are applauding the perfection of Mike Schlosser. Well, near perfection, I guess I should say. That just goes to show that Mike's not a machine.
Nope. But you could see just the reaction to the shot. It was slightly unexpected.
It's kind of reassuring to know that Mike can miss every now and then, that he is human.
Yes.
So it's a 3-point margin right now. Yeah, see, he was trying to will it back in there, trying to use a little body English to get
Good
that.
thing a judge didn't come over and ask him what the equipment failure was.
You having problems, Mike? Yeah, I just missed the 10 ring. Some of the archers who've come from distant parts of the planet to participate here at the Vegas Shoot. And there you see the 3-point difference between Schlosser and Hansen.
6 errors. It's possible. It's within the realm of possibility. It's pretty unlikely.
Not highly probable, but possible. As Mike sort of smiles.
9.
Really needs to return to his focus. Make sure he's dialed it in there, right in the same hole. And again, Schlosser's filled in that low 9, so it won't distract him, won't catch his eye, won't drag his eye out of the 10. All he wants to be doing is looking at that little black hole that he's set up in the 10 ring, and that'll just suck.
That's his target.
You know, we call them black holes. They suck arrows in. If you've got an aiming spot like that, just use it. And you can see his first target especially, there's barely a hole bigger than his arrow size. He's just plunked his first arrow in that same hole every time.
Nice job by Hansen with his last 2 arrows at that end. So Mike Schlosser maintains just the 3-point lead. And if you're Stefan Hansen now, you got to try to block it out. But boy, I don't know how you do that, thinking about the ones that, man, if I just had a couple more in there.
Yep.
I'm right in there.
Yep.
I'm right in this match. Had I just not been off on a couple of shots.
You could say that, or you could say if Hansen was at a 118, Schlosser would still be clean because he'd have that little bit of extra drive.
Drive to,
yeah. You know, with the buffer that Hansen set up.
Yeah. Can't play the what if game.
No. What ends up happening is one of these two guys is gold medal because he'll have outshot the other guy. Doesn't matter. They could shoot 9s all day and one guy pops a 10 to win. Or you could shoot 10s all day and one guy dumps a 9 to lose.
You get the feeling we're going to see these two in a lot of gold medal matches over the next 10, 20
I certainly hope
years
so.
or so.
Yeah,
they're both very young.
Yep. It'd be nice to see a rivalry come up. Let them enter the fray with the Rio and the Braden and Dehan Satar
Sure.
and Sergio Pagni and all of those great names that have won so many times.
This is the new generation coming up right here. On display in this men's compound gold medal match. Is that on the line?
I believe that's 10. They're calling it a 9-star.
10.
That's good 10. So even if we presume that first arrow was a 10, that's a 9. So Schlosser only needs to hold gold to win at this point, which shouldn't be too tricky.
10.
Oh, wow. He's barely broken the line on that second target. That's how good he's been on target too. They've almost all been inside out. There's another 9. He did finally get a 10 there, I think. But too many 9s down there. And for the gold medal, it's a 10.
There it is.
148, 2 points off, perfect. Good enough to win.
Taking care of business again here in Las Vegas. Mike Schlosser's got to love the South Point Hotel and Casino. It has been good to him. Of course, he's been good to it, too.
There's a banner off to the right of the main venue, the main set of targets here with Mike Schlosser's picture as the 2014 champion. And we were talking earlier this week about how maybe his name should be on there in case a few people maybe didn't know who he was.
They know now.
Yes, after this year, there will be very few people who won't know who Mike Schlosser is.
In fact, that picture can just stay up there.
He hasn't won the Vegas shoot yet. He's just won the World Cup.
It's going to be interesting to see, though. He's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now.
He's got to have good chance for sure. He's got to shoot another 30 arrows in the recurve size. And then he's got to win the shoot-off against everybody else who's done that, plus the lucky dog.
It's going to be fun tomorrow.
That's
here
what
in
they
Las
come
Vegas.
for. Yep. You can make your year winning Las Vegas.
Hats off to Stefan Hansen from Denmark.
Hats off to all the shooters who were in the medal matches. The caliber of the competitors is fantastic. To make the medals, you've done well. disappointing not to win the gold, but there's only one person who can win the gold. Everybody else can't.
And Mike Schlosser fought his way through the field, through the 1/8 round, quarterfinals, semifinals, gold medal match, and emerges victorious here in Vegas.
And it was a fight for sure. He had to shoot a shoot-off against, I believe they both shot perfect, 2 150s. So he didn't get to coast. You know, Mr. Perfect didn't coast and just ride on his reputation and have anybody lay down.
He was challenged. Yeah, he was
For
challenged.
Sure. So that's a good win for him. He'll be, I think he's on the 2 o'clock shooting line tomorrow, so he'll be able to get some good rest tonight. It's 10:15 in Vegas, so tomorrow morning, get some early morning practice and be ready for the 2 o'clock line, ready to shoot his next 30-10s, and then start the shoot-off procedure.
And after that's over, then he can go and celebrate here in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Gets a nice hug, high fives, handshakes all around. So it's time for us to say goodbye from here in Las Vegas. Our hats off to Mike Schlosser, Erika Jones, Jo Sung-hyun, and Kim Jae-young, all winners of gold medals here in Las Vegas. For Hugh McDonald, I'm Carl Arkey. We'll see you on Sunday for the Vegas round, the Vegas shoot. Mike Schlosser, congratulations to him and all who medaled here tonight. So long, everybody.